This video is to cover the Chapter 1 practice. So I've already created the document. Here, one thing I want you to do is to use fill and arrange to copy January over. So click on January, click on the January cell, then when you point to the bottom right hand corner you get a little skinny cross. Hold the mouse down, drag it to the right, and what it does is it fills in the rest of the months. As long as Excel can figure out what the first word is, it will attempt to fill in a sequence. Other ways to do formulas. The longest way to do a formula is to type the whole thing out. So all formulas start with equals, and then you type in the cell addresses. So equals B4, they can be upper or lowercase, plus B5 plus B6 plus B7. This is by far the longest way to create a formula. The operators are plus, minus, times, and divide. All formulas must start with an equal sign. So it's equals, address, operator, address, operator, address. Hit enter. That accepts that formula. If I click on the cell, the formula displays in the formula bar. Another way to write that formula is to click on the next cell, and these are just different ways to do the same thing. And instead of typing the cell addresses, I click on the cell addresses. So I start the formula with an equals, click on the cell address, plus, click on the next cell address, plus, click on the next cell address, plus, click on the next cell address. When I'm done, hit enter. Again, when I click on the cell, it shows me the formula up here. I'm going to zoom in on this. Either one of those two ways works great. If you need to do anything other than add up consecutive cells, this is the best way to do it. Either of these two formulas works great. If you need to do anything other than add up consecutive cells, this is how you have to do the math. So if you're going to do plus, minus, times, or divide, and it's not auto sum, you need to do it this way. So it's equals, cell address, operator, plus, minus, times, divide, cell address, operator, cell address, operator, cell address. Once the formula is correct, you can just click on the cell address, get on the skinny cross in the bottom right hand corner, and drag it across. And that will continue the formula to the next cell. This is called relative referencing. So if you notice in column C, the formula is C4, C5, C6, C7. In column D, the formula, it's the same formula for column D. Next cell, same formula for column E. Same formula for column F, same formula for column G. This is called relative referencing or relative addressing. Basically what it does is it creates the same formula for the next cell, whether I'm going across or whether I'm going down. So now I'm going to do the same thing for the year-to-date sales column. I click in the cell where the answer is going to be. I'm going to do it both ways. Start the formula with an equals, type the cell address, B4 plus C4. This is the long way to do it, but there are times you have to do it this way. So it's B4 plus C4 plus D4 plus E4 plus F4 plus G4. Hit enter. And same if I want to click on the cell address instead of typing the cell address, be in the cell where the answer is going to be. Start the formula with an equals. Click on the cell address, click on the operator, cell address, operator, cell address, operator, shows you up here what it's doing. Cell address, operator, cell address, operator, cell address. Make sure you don't add another operator at the end. There cannot be a plus, minus, times, divide at the end. That will give you an error message. And then I take my most recent formula and copy it down. So if I look at the formulas in column H, the formula in H4 is B4 plus C4 plus D4. Go down a cell, B5 plus C5 plus D5, down a cell, picks up the cells in row 6, picks up the cells in row 7, picks up the cells in row 8. Again, that's called relative addressing or relative referencing. Now I'm going to delete what I just did and show you another way to do it. So I'm going to delete the totals in row 8, delete the totals in column H. A faster way to do this, if you're going to do straight addition, not subtraction, multiplication, or division, is type in the formula equals sum parentheses, type in the first cell address, which is B4, colon means through, last cell address, which is B7. end parentheses, hit enter. Click on the cell, copy it across. So January's formula is equal sum parentheses B4 colon, meaning through B7. February equal sum C4 through C7, D4 to D7, E4 to E7, F4 to F7. Same thing on the year-to-date sales column, equals sum parentheses, first cell address is B4 colon, last cell address is G4 parentheses. Again, this only works on straight addition. So the formula is equals sum B4 through G4. Click on the skinny cross, drag it down. First formula is B4 to G4, B5 to G5, B6 to G6. Okay, so that's a faster way to do it than typing up equals address plus address plus address plus address. The fastest way to add them all up at once, I'm going to delete those formulas I just made again. Fastest way to add them all up in one step is select all the cells you want to add. Again, this only works for straight addition. Select all the cells you want to add, including the blank column where the total is going to be and the blank row where the total is going to be. And then on the Home tab, click on the AutoSum button. Bam. And then it automatically adds everything into the last blank column. Gives you the same formula we just did, equals sum B4 to G4, equals sum B5 to G5, equals sum B6 to G6, and then the total row, same formula we just created, equals sum B4 to B7, C4 to C7, D4 to D7. That is by far the fastest way to do straight addition. Again, it only works if you're going to add up everything. If you're going to do subtraction, multiplication, or division, you have to do it the first way. Now to do the average formula, I can do the same thing, but I don't want to average A, B, C, D, N total because that'll throw my average off. What I want to add up is A, B, C, and D only. So to do this, I click on the cell where the answer is going to be. Don't click on AutoSum, click on the AutoSum down arrow, and this gives you the most common formulas. They talk about this in chapter 2, I think. Click on average, and it selects all the values above it. I don't want all the values above it. I want A, B, C, and D. The values for A, B, C, and D. So select the values A, B, C, and D. It says equals average B4 to B7. Hit enter. Copy that across. I could do that on the last column as well. So always watch your formulas, make sure it's correct. Don't just assume you got an answer. It must be right. Okay, when formatting a worksheet, the book has you select cells and then format cells. Really the easiest way to format an entire worksheet is to select the entire worksheet and format it however you want most of the worksheet to be formatted. So I want most of this worksheet to be formatted with commas, no decimals. Click on the select all button. It's between the A and the 1. Selects the entire worksheet. On the Home tab in the number group, click on the comma button. Makes the entire worksheet commas, 2 decimals. I don't want any decimals, so click on decrease decimal twice until your decimals go away. And then if I were to add more information later or somewhere else in the worksheet, it would be formatted as commas, no decimals. The other thing you want to do in your worksheets before you save anything, after you get all your typing done, all your formulas in, and all your formatting done, is resize the worksheet to fit the widest entry. If you notice, cell A1 is wider than column A, and H2 is also wider than that column. Also, if I had a column, I'm just going to throw this in here, with just a little bit of information, let's say my initials, this column is really too wide. So again, before you save it for the final time, you want to resize the worksheet, what I call resize the worksheet to fit. So select all, point to the vertical line between any 2 column letters, your mouse changes to a double arrow, and double click. And what that does is it resizes every column to be as wide as that column needs to be. So notice the column with my initials is much narrower versus this column, which is much wider. If I just want to make column A narrower, I can point to the vertical line to the right of A and then just drag it. Now to save the workbook, just go to File, Save. First time you're going to save it, you need to go to Save As. After you've created a file name once, you can just do save. So I'm going to do save as. I'm going to click on browse. And what you want to do is create a folder. I'm going to put this on my desktop. Create a folder on my desktop called Excel class. And then I'm going to double click on Excel class, create a new folder called chapter 1. So you should do this for each chapter, that way you have each assignment in its correct chapter instead of having a whole bunch of assignments in one place. And then under Excel class chapter 1, I'm going to have my file name, which is going to be chapter 1 practice last name. That way I can keep all your files separate, and then hit save. And then up in the title bar, it gives me my file name. In the book, she has you always give it a file name first. Usually people will type everything up and then give it a file name later. Definitely don't wait too long before you give it a file name, because you don't want to lose everything you just did. And then you will close this, which is file close, or Control F4, and then you will upload that to the Dropbox.